Welcome to the lecture on consecutive sampling technique. Consecutive sampling comes under the lecture series of non-probability sampling techniques. I hope that you can remember the first lecture of non-probability sampling where I discussed the properties of non-probability sampling techniques. Most of these properties are even applied to consecutive sampling technique. Previously, I discussed quota sampling, purposive sampling, volunteer sampling, and haphazard sampling techniques. In many researchers, they have classified consecutive sampling also under those categories. But I would like to discuss this as a separate technique. But you can take whatever way you need because there's no proper categorization for non-probability sampling technique. Consecutive sampling, the reason for categorizing this as a different technique, in most of the time, consecutive sampling we apply for qualitative research. So what are qualitative researches? That is of course another lecture. In qualitative research, we are not quantifying our findings. If you need to identify what they are thinking, if you need to identify the problems of beggars of the society, if you need to identify the rural lifestyle of a specific village, you go and stay a few days, you observe these people, you interview these people, then you can write about their findings. If you do not know about the risk factors for particular disease, in such case, you can't, as you do not know anything about the risk factors, you can't go for quantitative research. In such case, to identify the problems, you have to do a qualitative research and identify the risk factors. Then, of course, you can go for quantitative research to quantify those risk factors. Generally, the qualitative research are to explore the things inside the people. In qualitative research, we don't calculate the sample size. Generally, we go until the saturation point. What is saturation point? We'll start with an example. You are interested in finding out the perception of the political system of country. So you know that different people have different perceptions. You get the first individual that you meet and you interview him. Assume that this is the first individual that you meet, you interview him and you can find out the many things that he think about the political system of the country. And you go to the second person and he will tell something new. But most of the things that first person has told. And the third person will be telling few things other than these two. So like that, when you go for about 10 to 20 people, most of the time there will be no additional information. In such case, you stop research. You are taking people consecutive manner. You identify the first person, the next house door, in a consecutive manner. Such sampling technique is known as consecutive sampling technique, where we don't interested in representativeness, randomness. But these findings we are not going to generalize, but we can present as this is the perception of this specific community. Other than the qualitative researchers, there are many health research, economic research, agriculture research. There are many other disciplines that we can use this consecutive sampling technique. Here, as I am a health personnel, I would like to discuss one example as a health example. Assume that we have a rare disease. A rare disease. You only get 100 patients. PTS is patients. 100 patients per whole year for a country. So this is for a year for country. You are interested in finding out the different things about this specific disease. To go for probability sampling, you need to take a probability sample of this. But unfortunately, you can't take a random sample because only 100 patients are there per year. You have to complete this research within this year. In such case, as there are 100 patients, what you can do is you can go for this consecutive sampling techniques. You are recruiting each and every patient that you will meet during the whole year. An important, very important point here is if you are taking all the people, or at least majority of these people, assume that you have taken 95 or 98, almost the total population. Even though this consecutive sampling technique is a non-probability sampling technique, we can consider this method in this circumstance. We can consider this as a random sample because you have recruited almost all the individuals of the population. So keep in mind, in most of the health researchers, specifically related to rare diseases, we are recruiting almost all the population in your hospital or in your country. In such case, that sample has the value almost like a random sample. I hope you are clear about the different non-probability sampling techniques. So, the non-probability sampling lecture series is over. But you need to keep in mind there are some other techniques, especially in modern days. There are methods like you can share a Google Sheet where the volunteers can fill. It's again non-probability sampling technique. You can use social media to get the information about people. All these are not random techniques, but they are non-probability sampling techniques. If those techniques are compatible with your own research, you can even use those techniques for your research. In next few lectures, we are going to discuss about the different techniques for inferential statistics.